I'm smiling because these really are smiley energies and smiley times that we are being asked to assimilate and come to grips with, to feel the energies of them as they bring us into quite a lot of bliss. Well, not everyone will be feeling that, although I'm sure that many people will be feeling little moments of bliss or a little bit of awareness that things are changing around them. And this, of course, can be very discombobulating, and for many people that is probably how they're going to be feeling at this moment, because we are certainly in new times and new energies. We have really come through, we're in this reset, this rebirthing. We actually are rebirthing ourselves or giving birth to this new version of self. And it's like a dream come true in many regards. It's like many of us have, been in meditation feeling these energies, although perhaps not these energies. These energies are a little bit different, and we're finding our way to just navigate them. So I want to tell you about what happened to me yesterday. It was just it was a total whack experience. And I believe that it was an indication of a big dimensional jump, a big dimensional time jump. And I can tell you what it is that Guy has told me about since then. But yesterday, so I had clients during the day, and the energy yesterday and maybe even the day before, it felt very dense and very heavy. It was hard to fathom it. It was kind of something, just excuse me while I just change that phone answer. Yeah, it had this heavy, dense compression type energy, and I guess it was coming in to alchemize us. But anyway, yesterday afternoon, after I'd finished with my clients and done some jobs, and I sat down on the couch, and I just felt this wave of tiredness, and so I lay down and I was out. Like, I just don't remember anything other than that at that point. And so I lay down and I slept, and when I woke up, I was really disorientated, like to the extreme. So this was my experience. I wrote down a few bits about it so I would remember. So I got up off the couch and I looked out the window. I have this fantastic view. I looked out the window and I'm like, no clues. So then I'm asking myself, seriously, I'm asking myself, what day is it? Did I just sleep through the night, or what is going on? I looked at the time and then I was like, okay, is it morning or is it night? And I looked and I was wearing a dress, and I remembered, okay, I was wearing this dress when I did my client sessions. And I'm asking myself, do I need to get changed and go to the gym now? Because I had a gym appointment. I had no idea what day it was, whether it was morning or whether it was night. I walked around and like a zombie, honestly, like a zombie, trying to kind of fathom what the heck had just happened. So I just felt like I just had to track back. So I knew that I had this dress on, that I had done all my client sessions on that day, and I had to go back and remember, so what day was that? Okay, so that was Sunday. And then I remembered that I'd laid down to have a sleep, but I felt as though I'd slept for such a long time. So I had to track back, and then the thing that gave me the clue was I could see through in the kitchen window, it was reflecting the sun. And so I knew that we were in late afternoon or early evening, that the sun was setting. That's the only time it can do that. So I'm like, okay, we're in evening. So we're at 7:30ish in the evening. I'd only slept for a couple of hours. I felt like I'd been asleep for I don't know how long, but a long sleep. So then I recognized that, yes, it was the afternoon. And so then I just had to figure out, and I thought, oh, well, actually, I can check on my device and it says Sunday. So then I realized that I had not slept for 26 hours, but just for 2. And it was just this, I just didn't know. I had no concept of it. And I felt very discombobulated. I went outside and everything seemed really still. I looked out the window and everything seemed really still. And finally, I felt like I was coming back into myself. But I really did feel so out of sorts, out of sync, out of balance, out of my body. And I don't know what happened to you, but some of you may have had an experience, and I know on my earlier live that people were commenting that they had these experiences, but we didn't all have them at the same time. But what I know is we went through a dimensional shift. So we've been going through these little tiny incremental shifts, and we went through a big one yesterday. And when I tuned in, I got shown how this is whether we did or not, I actually didn't ask that question of Gaia, but I was told that we had an effect like the solar flash. So I'm not saying that that's the final one, but we had a wave of energy that came to the earth yesterday that up-leveled us. And what I'm showing today is that it's like we were jolted into and through fifth dimensional space, and it will be it'll be like a spectrum, right? So some people would have been jolted into fourth dimensional space, some people would have been jolted into fifth dimensional space, some people won't have even noticed it, but they'll have had some incremental shift. And then I was shown that there was this, and it's narrow. The band isn't as wide as I haven't looked into this either. Some of you might have some clues that you can give me. But there's this, it's like a band of energy that is sixth dimensional space. Now, I know that we are, in the process of receiving up to 12th dimensional energies. But this was a shift into the sixth dimensional band, and the sixth dimensional bandwidth, it looks skinnier than the fifth dimensional. The fourth dimensional I always see as this little skinny. Well, there you go. That might be why, because the sixth might just be a bridge to the seventh. But that's how I always see the fourth. The fourth is just like a bridge to the fifth. So I am showing that that some of us anyway, and possibly many of you, that we got it was like a shunting through to the sixth dimensional space. So we experienced this new vibration that came through on the 11th of the 11th. That also had a different feel to it. We are assimilating it. We are embodying it. We're kind of trying to understand it. I want to say to you that these energy levels that we're experiencing are very intense, and they are certainly designed to shift us, to transform us, to take us into further transmigration, to up-level us in a physical sense, to take us to a new place and a new level. And we are It's so funny how I can't talk. We are assimilating this new and higher frequency that has never, ever been on the earth before. That's my understanding of it. So we are learning to assimilate these higher frequency crystalline energies in our physical form and surrounding us and holding us and changing us and transforming the world and the people around us. And we have to learn how to navigate this. And the first thing to do is to learn how to come into balance with it. So we can invite these energies to come in, and for us to come into balance and into center as we begin to learn how to navigate them. So it can feel quite wobbly as we're integrating these, because it is that kind of shunt. It's like an impact energy, and it's really designed to shift us. It's not subtle and slow. It's very quick moving, and that's how I am showing it. It's designed to shift us very, very quickly. It's like a shunt. I'm showing that we will kind of get used to this, and then it will happen again. But that was a big one. And so maybe the next ones will be a bit more subtle again until we're ready for a further kind of shunting. Right, let me just check here. There's also a lot more, it would seem, it's my perception, a lot more incidences of pillars of light being seen as the earth is being activated. So you will have possibly heard me speak before of all of these connection points that relate to pyramids and to spires in our world, both on the surface, underneath, known and unknown, seen and hidden, that they were being activated and they were being connected up. And so we know that that's already happened, and now it's as though it's happened to a greater illumination. So this new sacred geometric pattern on the internal of the earth, as our earth really loses density, as it's more illuminated and it's coming into this higher frequency, more light, less density. These are holding our energetic pattern, or the energetic frequency, the energetic form of the earth, so that they're being held, those energies, that new elevation is being held by this energetic set of connection points in the inner earth and on the external of the earth. And so that already happened, and it's useless really for me to tell you when, because I have no concept of that, but that's already happened. And now it's come into this greater activation, this higher illumination. So we are rebirthing ourselves. We are rising out of this into this new version of ourself. So as you integrate more of yourself, more of your multi-dimensional self, these light codes, these DNA upgrades, they are facilitating more and more higher upgrades, higher codes, more DNA reconnection, more revealing of truth from the inside, and being able to see it like another veil just got ripped back. We'll be able to see more clearly through any of the sort of veils of illusion. We've come into more of our own power, into more empowered psychic abilities as well. And everyone will do that at their next level, at their next juncture. So this timeline jump to this new level, to this higher level than we've ever been, at least in the last few thousand years on the earth. In the spiral, we just jumped a level in the spiral here. Yeah. in that spiral. It's like we just jumped an entire level. Everybody did, wherever you're at on it. It's like you just jumped a higher level. So for the rest of November, you can expect to be receiving more of this as you integrate it and embody it. We're coming into this greater unification. We're building or developing or learning to move through this unified field as we move from this kind of separation, individual way of being in the world to this unified way, this collective consciousness, this higher way of thinking and feeling and communicating and operating. So we're in this very physical, to me it's very obvious, and hopefully it is to you, but there's this very obvious, tangible dissolution of structures and systems. And so these are, of course, held on faulty premise, they're held on false beliefs. So these are our internal false beliefs, faulty ways of thinking and processing, operating, connecting, communicating, the way that we view the world. All of that is dissolving, crumbling, dissipating, just as the systems and structures in our world, they're showing up as being very lacking in compassion, care, community, cooperation, collaboration, and they're very clearly dissolving. So, you know, that is clearly occurring in a very physical, tangible way in terms of government and systems. And we will perhaps have some, in the meantime, systems that come into be as a bridge between here and here. But we know, I can tell you, we're going to, you know, I mean, honestly, I'm smiling because it's just so freaking cool. We are just going to be witnessing. We might witness a lot of shite, actually. We might witness a lot of strong reaction to some of this dissolution, because it's going to make people feel very wobbly, unsure, uncertain about who they are, where they are, what they are coming into. And there, you know, there is still this you know, the shadow being thrown in, but largely it's gone, largely it's dissipated. We're just waiting for it to leave the physical now. And so we can hold the new. That can be those of us who are aware of this kind of ascension process that we're in. We can hold space for the new. Let me see, what else do I want to speak of here? Yeah, so this whole new level, and so now we can learn how to work with it. Yeah, so we are in these very quickened creation energies. This new thing, if I didn't mention it before, this new, the sixth dimensional field, it showed up a bit like as skinny, like I said. I think I said that. But what it represents, I was shown, is it represents a seal. And that seal, this will fill you up, I tell you. That sixth dimensional seal, what that represents is, ain't no going back, honey. We are not going back. The fifth dimension, the fifth dimensional space that we have moved into in a very strong planetary way, and many beings with it. That's what I'm showing. The planet moved, and we might not be in our final place yet, but we moved, and we moved dimensions, and that seal came in as there's no turning back. We are here, we are anchoring this, we are the irony of solidifying this, we are strengthening this, we are embodying this, we are learning how to navigate and use it in co-creation of the next part in our journey, our new world, our fifth dimensional space, our fifth dimensional way of being in the world. That is how it shows up to me. I don't know about you, but I'm just over the moon about it. I'm just blown away by it. My heart's blown wide open, and I think that it's just all now about our working with creation and working with co-creation. So let me just check and see before I come back to that. Okay. So what to do? The first thing is to be restful. Be very gentle with yourself. Be in your compassionate heart for yourself and for others. Know that everyone will have gone through something at some level in some aspect, and that they may be inquiring of you or they may not. But allow them to come to their truth in their own time, and you just be the person who answers their questions. I want to say that that what Gaia said is give yourself permission to do less, to sleep more, to be more rather than doing more. And just looking at my poor scribble. And to speak to your body, to be in dialogue with your body about what it needs, requests, and requires, to drink lots of water, to eat lightly, or what and when you are guided to. So there are no rules at this time about, you don't need to impose your own rules either about what to eat and when to eat and how much or how little to eat. You just do what you're guided to do, because we honestly, let's face it, this is unknown territory. This has never been done in the history of the omniverse, and we're in the midst of it, and it is so exciting. And so we just have to, like for me, I feel like I've got a little bit more of a belly now than I had a couple of weeks ago, and I've been moving in and out of that as we've been going through the energies, and I'm just going to be okay with it, because I know it will go away again. It's just, we've just got to move through this in the way that we're guided, and sometimes we are holding a lot of light, and that can make our body feel expanded. Remember, so forgive me if I'm repeating, remember you might be going through higher levels of integration whilst those around you are just awakening. Or they might be going through a dark night of the soul. So again, come back to being in present moment and being in compassion in your heart, and hold space for them, sit beside them. You don't have to be their teacher. You can just be the person who loves them and hold compassion in your heart. The other aspect that's happening, so if you think about, there's all these sort of layers and levels that people are moving through, and I believe people move through them at different rates and even in different orders. I could be wrong, but that's my perception of it. There might be a general kind of trending of the order in which we move through things, but I don't believe that that's set in stone. So other sort of openings, or it's like the flower blossoming, is going to be around truth, and people are going to, as we come into greater clarity, we come into greater observation of how we feel and our own truth, and how that aligns with what we are shown, which then can show up what is truth in terms of what we've been presented with. And this is all part of this process as well, and really hold space for that, because that's going to be very confrontational. Well, I want to say for all of us, even though we might not know at what level that becomes confrontational for all of us, that's what Gaia has always said, that when we go through this, I can't believe we're going through something that I have been, like talking about from her in a public way for a few years now. And we're going through it. So she has always said, for those who are, awake and ascend more, perhaps more through the ascension spiral than others, to sit beside people, be the study buddy, don't be the teacher. That there is this right now. It's about being so present. So you can sort of have some projection about where you want to be headed. And I would say do that in terms of visual descriptions and emotional feelings, how you want to feel in the process, or in that moment, or in that dwelling, or in that experience. So create in this moment and then the next, and witness how quickly it shows up. Witness how quickly what you put into I'm calling it the creation basket, what you put into the creation basket comes in. And it's interesting that I've noticed in speaking to a few people that who have clients, for example, that I feel like this is my part of my lesson at the moment, is to trust that all is well, that all is coming, that there is purpose in whatever it is happening, that the divine has it in order for each of us, as long as we're present in each moment, and then we be guided by our higher self, our inner voice, our inner guidance, our soul GPS, and know that all is well, that everything is unfolding in perfect divine order. And that I believe that we are being taught to be more at ease in present moment thought, word, and action, by seeing what shows up, by experiencing things in a new way. So for me, for example, at the beginning of last week, I think it was at the beginning of last week, but what's so interesting, I had so few appointments booked. Whenever it was, I looked. And in fact, by the end of the week, I had a relatively full week of appointments. And I spoke to a couple of friends who see clients, and they're having the same experience. And I believe it's that, where, for me anyway. So again, I'm interested in your experiences. I feel like I'm being stretched to really have faith, to really come into deeper trust and deeper knowing that all is well, that all is unfolding perfectly, and that things are happening in the moment. Be present in the moment. So this is your time to be practicing that, to become very aware of the words that you are thinking and speaking and what comes from it, to avoid using the word don't, to be speaking as though it's present now, that you have it now, or that you are in the coming into it, or the becoming of it, so it's imminent. Whatever it is that you are desiring and feeling into. So this is your time, if you like, to acclimatize to these new energies, to practice very deliberate co-creation, to keep checking in with yourself. What do I want now is perhaps a term to move out of. So you can be in the practice of that you have it, that you already have it. You are in it. You are experiencing it. You are in the experience of what it is that you desire, that you have it already, and that you are practicing great gratitude of already having it and experiencing it, and in the knowing of it, in the deep knowing. It's like you just have a fleeting knowing. And I was reminded that this depth of knowing is akin to that old analogy of you go to the restaurant, you check the menu, you order your food, and then you let it be the role of the kitchen staff, the chef, the waiters, the maitre d'. You hand it over to them. And so this is what we are learning to do in the moment, in our creation zone, in our creation basket. It's as though we put it in there and we know that it will be attended to, and that it's not our job to attend to it. So we're in this deep knowing. We've ordered what we want, and we know that it will come when it's ready and in perfect divine timing. So let me see if there are any questions in here, and I'm sure that you can feel my level of excitement. It really is incredible. Hello, Val. CK felt so strange yesterday. Yeah, I imagine that lots of people did. Andrea, oh yeah. Felt the shift today. Hi, Wellbeing Navigator. Kia ora, Heidi. Blissful, more understanding of the past year, hopeful again. I'm soaking it in. That's great advice, Beachweave. It's a really good sentence framing for all of us to assimilate, to sit in. Feeling the wonderful wave through surrender, acceptance, and wonderment. Those are beautiful descriptors, adjectives for us to use. I want to say to you that, how this struggling with words, I've always noticed that comes when I'm having like a brain upgrade. So that might not be your experience, but that's certainly mine. And I remember my son at one point, he said to me, "For goodness sake, Mum, you can't even complete a sentence. It's so annoying." And I said, "I realise that would be very annoying for you, but I'm doing my best. It is as though I have this knowing that I know the word and I'm looking for it. It's like that. It's like I'm in my head looking for that word that I know that is it needs to come here, even if it was just a simple concept like a noun of the naming word of something. I would be in my brain looking for the word, and he would get so frustrated with me. I totally understood it, but it was beyond my capacity to do any more than I was doing. And I said to him, "I'm sure that this is not a permanent feature of my working with vocabulary and communication." And that's how I feel a little bit today, as though I'm sort of a bit tongue-tied, as though I am seeking the new words. And so I know I'm going through another level of upgrade. So maybe you're having that experience. Compassion is our superpower to unity. Exactly. That's a really good description, Andrea. So when we can be in that compassion, then what it means is that we sit in our hearts and we can observe that there is difference here, that there is contrast here, and that we don't have to be in a camp with it, that we don't have to take a side with it, that we can be in total acceptance, total allowance, and just witness what is going on and make our own decisions from our own beautiful hearts, and to be in compassion, because everyone will be going through their process. And as we are undoing, you will remember we are in that process of, I used to always think that was my truth, and now I'm not sure. And we are navigating that on a lot of levels, each of us, and certainly all of humanity at the moment. Haven't been able to sleep. Hallie Stubb, that is just tough, isn't it? I've been grateful that has not been my experience in the last couple of days, but I believe that's another aspect of the waves that we go through. And it's all about, sort of which part of the process that we're in. Because, if you took the spiral, and you changed its form into a flat structure, it would be doing this, wouldn't it? And so there, I think, we're all moving through those waves, and those waves can be to do with our energy levels, our ability to sleep well, our ability to hold focus, our ability to be still, all of the ways in which we're affected. So maybe just be in the space of, I'm grateful I'm moving through this as quickly as I possibly can. I'm grateful that no matter how much sleep I have, my body is functioning beautifully and my mind is working wonderfully. Giddiness, yes, that definitely is a part of this reorientation, isn't it? We're kind of finding our way to be vertical again. Belly button, throat, higher heart, third eye. Holy, who knew belly button so very strong? Yeah, so let's think about that. So the belly button is like our umbilical to creation, right? And maybe that's why we're having those activations, because we are in this renewal, this upgrade through the creation thread. And the umbilical is a metaphor for that, or a representation of that. Amazing feelings of bliss and peace, Lorinda is saying. So nice after the past couple of weeks. Andrew is saying, I love you, family. Yes, love can be held so beautifully by each of us. So lots of weird energy, Heidi is saying, manifesting some lovely things and then losing things. Yeah, that is interesting, actually. I sometimes wonder whether that's our shifting in and out of dimensional space, that it's in another dimension, and then when things catch up, it integrates again. I just found this pair of silver earrings that I bought a long time ago. They were quite expensive, and for the last 2 years I've only had one of them, and I had no kind of idea about where it could be, and I was thinking, oh, maybe I'll just melt it down. And then all of a sudden, like in the same space, in the same box, both of them were there. And I've looked for that because I used to wear them often. And I've looked for that and looked for that. And in the end, I thought, well, it's definitely disappeared and I don't know how. So I think this is, as we're moving in and out of dimensional space, that can happen, that we lose things. Golden. She's saying just when she's feeling happy and well, she gets sad news of another death, and several have been you. Trying to hold my light during these times. Yeah, lots of love and blessings to you. It's tough. And it's useful for us to try and be resilient with that, because we are going to have a lot of loss in our worlds for whatever reason is purported. This is the time, and people will have made their choice about how they leave, but the reason attributed to that could be vast. And if we look at the last at what's gone on in the last 3 years, and that a lot of people may leave through the process of those injections, I still believe that they were on some level soul choices. I also believe there was divine intervention. I believe that there will be some people, many people actually, who got a saline solution. I believe that there was, you can just see it from lots of levels, and maybe even it's beyond my capacity to understand all of it. But I am aware that we are going to have many leave. So we'll have many leave because they've been here without soul, they've been here for other reasons. And then we'll have people leave because they've made a soul choice to not go through this with their physical body, it will be too challenging for them, or that this was their soul contract to leave at this time, or that this was their soul contract to exit and return in a reinvigorated body, or as a soul in a new form. I'm showing, to be honest, I don't see the fill-in people, the background people. It's not part of my perception or my gift. I know that there are people who do, but I am definitely shown by Gaia that we're going to have millions of walk-ins, and so there will be lots of ways that comes in. But as we ascend into our new earth, our new light, our ascended planet, and it kind of feels like we might be there, at least on some level. And we've certainly gone through an ascension experience. Then our world will be, I don't even know what the word is, but we'll have lots of walk-ins, and we'll have come with specific purpose and mission for us to rebuild our new earth. So there are a lot of, forecasters or people speaking about timing. I have always, right from when I first started working with Gaia, I got shown that 2025 would be our midway point to our golden era, but we have sped that up. We are ahead of that trajectory, that timeline. So that was a timeline of moving into, being in our kind of, fully fledged golden era by 2032. But we've definitely sped that up, and we are definitely going to have our new systems and structures in place by the time we get to 2025, whereas before that was the point at which we would be doing the rebuild, the reinitiation. But no, we're going to be doing that next year. And I guess the thing, honestly, when I listen to my videos, I want to give myself a bit of a slap. I've got into saying so too many times, and too many times, and then whatever that word just was. Let me get back to that thought. We are going to be developing our new systems and structures, and they will be complete, is what I am showing, by 2025. Not that we will be in the midst of developing them. And I remember now what it was I was getting to, is that we are in this speed. So we are these quicker energies, these higher frequencies. This is all making things go faster. So we are having, or I am anyway, this experience of feeling like time is very expanded in the day, and yet the week or the month goes by very quickly. We are in accelerated energies. We're in rapid creation mode, and there is no reason why that won't be taking us into a new experience and more quickly than was thought before. That's what I'm showing, and that's my understanding of it. So we can be in refinement, thanks, and let us do that. Not just us on our own, but let us lead the way in that, in this co-creation energies, in this bundling up what we want on a personal level, on a community level, and on a worldwide level for humanity, for the planet, for all of the creatures of our planet, and for the health of our planet, the internal of our planet, the external of our planet. You can know that I certainly see and have had conversations with at least two sets of inner earth cities, these higher dimensional beings who exist and function inside our earth, and there may be more than that, but those are the two who I have met. And God, the analogy that God gives me for everything at the moment is, we're on this last little bit of the hill and we're going so fast we can't stop. And we're doing that into our new world. So I want to suggest that we work constructively, deliberately, intentionally with co-creation, with creating our new way of being in our body, of being in our work, of being in our community, and of being in our world. So we're envisaging, and do feel free to go and use the 11:11. When did I do that? The guided meditation I did, of course, on the 11th of November, that's on the channel. It's a really powerful way to be conjuring things up and energizing those new systems and structures with powerful words and with the energies of appreciation, joy, and gratitude. Let me get back to here. So Golden, lots of love and blessings to you. And it's difficult for us in our human form to deal with death and with grieving, and the higher way to view that is that each soul has made their decision, and that their soul may have an immediate plan for return or a short-term plan for return. And certainly that's been quite a common theme in my clinic in the last probably 2 years, is that many who are passing will return in between the timelines that I've been given are between 6 months and two years. That's what's showing up. But I can't remember the order of it because I really don't remember very much from my sessions because I'm in another place. Charlotte, I feel like I've gone through a massive shift. Went to the airport early this morning and 4 times got cut off. Oh, yeah. Interesting. Hey, so what does that mean? Well, I guess it could mean, well, first of all, I want to tell you that I reckon we should stay home as often as we can, just spread our light from here, because I think that that's all to do with dimensional shift as well, Charlotte. I remember when I was in Bangkok, and I felt like I had like a sort of dimensional shift, and I had this day, and I know there's lots of people in Bangkok, but I had this day where 3 or 4 times during the day I wasn't even seen, and it was people physically bumped me, like big people totally bumped my shoulder, and one person almost tried to walk through me, just didn't see me, and it was a real thump. And maybe that's like the experience that you had with your car, that your car's vibrating at the frequency that matches you. And I just think we need to be aware of this, that I believe that we've been going through and will continue to go through this shifting from one dimension and back to the other, and our experience will change through that shifting. I don't know what the answer is. I believe we're becoming more grounded in the higher dimension now, and that an existence in our world is still the third dimension of form, and some people will still be having 3-dimensional lives, and the fourth dimension to me is like a bridge, and that people are moving through it and back, and as everybody is ascending up their own spiral of ascension, and humanity, the collective spiral, and the world, the planet. So we just have to be super present, super mindful, and that's kind of my note to self, is to be a little bit of a hermit at the moment. Halley Star, feel that 2 days longer, but the weeks speed by. Yeah, that's cool. We're having some, similar collective experiences. I think that might be it. So the best advice that I've been given is for each of us to be incredibly present with each moment, and then allow the next to unfold, and be in that exceptionally present knowing and wisdom and trust that everything is unfolding in perfect divine order and timing. And there is this notion of this everything coming into that same point, into that co-creation point of our new experience. Our beach weaver just saying they don't see us when we're jumping timelines here. Yeah, so we've got all this to learn and master so that we can pass on our experiences to others. We'll be witnessing this wave that came through on the 11th. It had an awakening effect on all souls who had, put the tick beside, I'll do the Ascension. All souls had an awakening experience, is what Gaia told me on the 11th of the 11th. And we're anchoring that, we're embodying that, we're embedding that, we're coming into the implementation of how to use that in our world, and each of us moving up that. It is this collective effect, this, the tipping point because of the energetics of it. So it is very exciting. It's very exciting for us, and we will learn about navigating this and how to master it. And do take notes and write things down to come and share the next time that we're here, so that we can share the experiences, share the learnings, and make a more collective kind of knowledge platform of wisdom and steps and procedures of how to move through this time. So thank you for coming and sharing this joyous moment and this absolutely bizarre timeline jump that we have done. But to me, it was like the most emphatic, undeniable experience. And I really did feel like I was in the Twilight Zone for, I don't even know how long, but quite a long time, really. Maybe it took me 30 minutes to get to grips with it. All right, so much love to you.